Bonjour and hello to each and every one of you. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make these super delicious glutinous rice balls that are filled with brown sugar, toasted sesame seeds, some peanuts, and coated with some freshly grated coconut. It is amazing to make for pretty much any occasion. Great for parties, great for the holidays. It is delicious pretty much any time of the year. So I'm going to show you how to make it today. I'm doing 4 different colors today just to be a little bit more festive. So with that, let's go straight into it and I'll show you how to make it. Let's start by making the brown sugar filling first. So I have here a really good nonstick pan. I'm going to add in some raw white sesame seeds along with some black sesame seeds as well. And I'm going to toast this on medium heat until it has a really good golden color to it. It should smell very toasty and look something like this. Once it's toasted like this, I'm going to let this cool completely before I put it in a mortar and pestle. Once it cools, place this into a mortar and pestle, and then I'm going to add in some roasted peanuts as well. The peanuts are optional. I do like the texture and the flavor of peanuts in here, so you can either add it or you don't have to. It's really up to you. And then I'm going to pound this and just pound it to your desired texture. I do like it a little bit chunky. If you like it really fine, you could definitely make it a lot finer, but I do like to see some chunks of peanuts in here as well. So in a bowl, I measure out the brown sugar. I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of honey. And then I'm going to add in all of the toasted sesame seeds and peanuts. And then give this a really good mix. And that's it for the brown sugar, toasted sesame seeds, peanut, and honey filling. I'm going to set this aside while I take care of the grated coconut coating. So here I have some grated coconut that I place into a pretty big bowl, and I am using frozen grated coconut that I found at my local Asian grocery store. I just thawed and then place it into a bowl like this, and then I'm going to add in some salt. Give this a really good mix, and then we're going to set this aside. Now, if you don't want to use fresh grated coconut, you can also use dried shredded coconut as well. I recommend using the unsweetened one. If you want to use the sweet one, feel free to, but I do like to control the amount of sweetness for these glutinous rice balls, so I prefer the unsweetened one. But I do prefer using fresh grated coconut. It just has a better flavor and texture. I'm going to be making 4 different colors and naturally dyeing it using different ingredients, specifically any cooked starch. The added cooked starch will give the rice ball a really nice tenderness to it as it sits and cools down. For the yellow color, I'm using either a kombucha squash or here I have a mom pumpkin that I'm going to be utilizing. For the purple, I'm using grated purple yam, or also known as ube. For the orange, I'm using a sweet potato. And then for the green, I'm using some pandan leaf powder along with some plain mashed potatoes. So the first one I'm going to show you is the yellow dough. So in a bowl, I'm going to add in some glutinous rice flour, some regular rice flour, salt, sugar, and then give this a really good whisk. And then here I took some mom pumpkin. I just peel it and steam it until it's nice and soft and then mash it up like this. I'm going to add this straight into the dry ingredients. It should be steamy and it should be hot. So any liquid that goes into the dry ingredients, I highly recommend using it while it's still extremely hot so that it can help bind the dry ingredients really good together. Use a spatula to help coat the dry ingredients in with the pumpkin, and then I'm going to go in with my hands. Do be careful because the pumpkin is hot. Because I'm using a mom pumpkin that does have a lot of water, the dough didn't really need any extra water to get it nice and pliable. So I do like to pinch off a piece here, roll it out, and see if the texture is to my liking. If you do notice that it's a little bit dry, you can definitely add a tablespoon or 2 of hot boiling water to get it a little bit more pliable. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this in plastic wrap so it doesn't dry out while I do the other doughs. The next one I'm going to show you is the orange dough. So same process, I'm going to add some glutinous rice flour into a bowl along with some rice flour, salt, and sugar. Give this a really good whisk. And in here I have some cooked mashed sweet potatoes. I just took 1 sweet potato, cut it up into chunks, steam it, and then just mash it up like this, and then add it into the dry ingredients. And again, I do suggest adding the mashed sweet potatoes into the dry ingredients when it's hot. Mix it with a spatula and then go in with your hands. For this one, since sweet potato has a little bit more starch, it does get crumbly like this. So for this, I like to add in some hot boiling water and roughly around 1/4 cup or more depending depending on the quality of the sweet potato. So give this a really good knead until you get a really good pliable dough. Again, if you do notice that it's a little bit too dry for you, go ahead and add in a tablespoon or two of hot boiling water, which I am doing now. And this looks pretty good. It should look something like this. And again, I'm going to wrap this in plastic wrap while I finish the other two doughs. The next one is the purple dough. So same process. I'm going to add in some glutinous rice flour into a bowl along with some rice flour, sugar, and salt. Give this a really good whisk and then set this aside. In a really good nonstick pan, I'm going to add in some of the grated purple yam. And I'm using the frozen pack that I bought from my local Asian grocery store. Just thaw it out and then weigh out the exact amount. Usually the frozen one is not cooked, so I do like to cook this before adding it into the dry ingredients. Place this into the pan along with some water. Give this a really good stir and then turn on the heat and allow this to cook for about a couple of minutes on medium heat until it starts to bubble like this. Once it starts bubbling, stir this really quick and let it cook for about 15 seconds and then remove it from the heat and place it straight into the dry ingredients while it's still hot. With a spatula, go ahead and mix this really good together, and then I'm going to switch to my hands and knead the dough. Again, if you notice that it's a little bit dry, feel free to add a tablespoon or two of hot boiling water and the dough should look something like this. Again, I'm going to wrap this in plastic wrap while I finish the pandan dough. And then for the pandan dough, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some glutinous rice flour into a bowl along with some rice flour, sugar, salt, and in here I have some pandan leaf powder. And the pandan leaf powder that I'm using is the Suncor Foods one. If you don't want to use pandan leaf powder, you could definitely just use the pandan flavoring extract here. Just do about a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon into some water. But I do like the natural color and flavor of using pandan leaf powder, so I'm going to be using this today. Add this into the dry and give this a really good whisk. To this, I'm going to add in some plain mashed potatoes. I just took one potato, peel it, cut it into chunks and boil it until it's soft and mash it up like this. And then add it into the dry ingredients while it's still hot, along with some hot boiling water. With your spatula, go ahead and give this a really good stir and then go in with your hands. So for this one, I do like to mix this until it's crumbly like this so that I can control the amount of water I'm going to add into the mixture here. So I'm going to add a little bit more hot water to get it hydrated and then go ahead and knead this again until the dough is nice and pliable. And you should have something that looks like this. Again, I'm going to wrap this in some plastic wrap, and here we have the 4 color doughs. Let's go ahead and fill these and then we're ready to cook them. So to form these, I'm going to take about a tablespoon of the dough, flatten it, and then add in a small spoonful of the filling into it. Press it down while you're pressing the edges to close it and seal it completely, and then go ahead and use the palm of your hands to smooth out the ball. Make sure it's completely sealed so that the filling doesn't burst out when it's cooking. But it should look something like this. And then do the same to the rest of the colored doughs. And here we have it. All the doughs are pretty much used up and filled. We are ready to cook these. In a pot, I have some simmering water. I do like to heat the water up till it's nice and simmery like this. I don't like to heat it up till it's completely boiling. So once it comes to a nice simmer like this, go ahead and place the balls straight in. I'm going to cook this into 2 batches so that I don't overcrowd the pot. With a spatula, go ahead and give this a really gentle stir so that the balls don't stick to the bottom of the pot. And allow this to cook for at least 5 minutes at a really gentle simmer. Within 5 minutes of cooking, you'll start noticing the rice ball coming up to the top here. Once they start floating to the top here, I do like to let this simmer for at least 2 to 3 minutes so that the inside cooks all the way through. But go ahead and give this a really gentle stir so that it's cooked evenly. After 3 minutes, I'm ready to take these out. So I'm going to use a spider and just take them out and place it onto a tray. Since they're hot, I do like to let them sit for about a minute before I coat them in the coconut. After a minute, I'm going to place these straight into the salted grated coconut and just coat it until it is completely covered with the grated coconut. And it should look something like this. Finish coating the rest and place it back onto the tray, and then I'm going to continue cooking the rest of the glutinous rice balls. I do want to note that if you're cooking these and you notice some of these glutinous rice ball popping and bursting, that's completely normal. It totally happens, and that's okay. So once these glutinous rice balls are cooked and coated in some grated coconut, allow this to sit for about 5 minutes before you enjoy it. So these glutinous rice balls are actually best eaten the day that they're made because they do stay soft. If you put it in the fridge, they will harden. If you want, you can definitely re-steam it again to get it a little bit softer, but I highly recommend eating this the day that they're made. The rice balls are actually very soft, but also still chewy. It has a really nice, lightly coated grated coconut on the outside, and then the filling is amazing. It is nutty from the peanuts and the toasted sesame seeds, and has a great sweetness from the brown sugar and honey, but these are super fun. If you eat a whole one in your mouth, the brown sugar does burst. So that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoy watching how to make these super delicious glutinous rice balls. Give this one a try. If you want the full written recipe, it is available on my website. I'll put the link down in the description box so that you can give it a go. Other than that, I'm gonna go and enjoy these with my family, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. Whoa. Mm.